The Oklahoma Sooners are in the midst of trying to bring in another quarterback for their 2026 recruiting class. Bowe Bentley revealed his top three. We'll discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners are in the final three for quarterback Bowe Bentley, who dropped his top three on Sunday. According to Hayes Fawcett, he says Georgia, Oklahoma, and LSU are among the final three. He will be at Oklahoma June 13th through the 15th for his official visit.
Yeah, we're going to see Bowe Bentley in town. And it sounds like he's the only player so far to publicly say that he's coming to visit Oklahoma that full weekend. Everyone else, there's like there's a 2027 player that's coming on just the 13th, and I saw another player on the 12th and 13th. Actually, 27 players, the 12th and 13th, and another player said they were going to come on the 13th, and I think go somewhere else for the weekend. But Bowe is going to be there all weekend long, so you know that Oklahoma is going to lay out the red carpet. The goal is to get two quarterbacks for this class. Bowe is sending himself up to being a top 10 quarterback in the 2025 class. Having him and potentially top 10 quarterback Jaden O'Neal in the same class would be huge. There's no guarantee that you'll get both, but to be honest, Oklahoma's pushing to get for both of them. Like I've mentioned before, Bowe Bentley is more of your John Mateer aesthetic, I guess you could say, and Jaden O'Neal is more of your Cam Ward. So Ben Arbuckle's had both. He's been able to see success with both. And so to me, you would want both to be able to see which works out the best here in the SEC. And I love Jaden O'Neal's arm and his ability to read defenses. I like Bowe Bentley's ability to run and throw on the run while scrambling. It's going to be fun to see just kind of how this goes going forward.
Yeah, Oklahoma's going to make a big pitch. I mean, not only from the recruiting standpoint, but probably in the NIL game as well. You know, this is when we've seen Oklahoma make a big recruiting weekend for a specific player, you know they're pulling out the full court press, whether it was for Aaliyah Chavez, whether it was for John Mateer, and they're going to do that. And Oklahoma's got a lot going for them. I mean, as a football program, yeah, you come off of a 6-7 season, sure, but you're Oklahoma, right? For 25 years, you've had really good offense, great offenses, and not just under one offensive coordinator, under a number of offensive coordinators or play callers, and it's been great offense. So if you're a quarterback, Oklahoma is still a destination program for quarterback play. You bring in Ben Arbuckle, and that enhances that even more. And so if you can land both Jaden O'Neal and Bowe Bentley, that gives you the opportunity to have a really, really nice quarterback room in 2026 and beyond. And it gives you a little bit more kind of time, and you can be a little bit more patient, where, you know, with Michael Hawkins Jr. likely to take over in 2026. Okay. Then beyond that, you've got quarterback competition that you can allow to see, okay, who's going to emerge and be the guy. You're not having to just hand the reins over to one person in particular, whether it's the 2027 or 2028 season. You can take your time and be patient and just let the process play out, as opposed to having to dub one guy the heir apparent. We saw kind of how that worked out last year. Jackson Arnold was dubbed the guy and didn't really have to compete. And, you know, whether or not that had anything to do with the way his game ended up being in that fall, we'll see, but it didn't work out. And so Oklahoma is going to want to have some insurance. And obviously we know that Cole Gonzalez will be gone after this year. John Mateer could likely be gone after this year. If he has a really, really good season, he could be off to the NFL. So getting two quarterbacks in the class makes a lot of sense to make sure that you have enough arms to be able to go forward with. But on Bowe Bentley, man, the dude is a game changer. He is such a dynamic player, both with his arm and with his legs. And I mean, you mentioned it. He's like a John Mateer type, and he is a dual threat quarterback. And when you have a guy that is a legit dual threat quarterback, it just does something different for your offense. Even a guy like Dylan Gabriel. I mean, you might not have classified him as a quote unquote dual threat, but the dude was athletic and he can get out there and he can run. And it really allowed Oklahoma's offense to do several really, really nice things. And if you've got a Bowe Bentley, that does make a difference. Now, Georgia, LSU are going to be difficult teams to overcome. But the interesting thing about that is Jaden O'Neal is also looking hard at Georgia too. So how that all is going to play out will be fascinating. But I think you can't go wrong with either guy. And if you can get both guys, man, that's awesome.
Exactly. And I mean, right now you've got LSU in there for Bowe Bentley with UGA and Oklahoma. Jaden O'Neal's also got those same schools after him. Like you said, it's Oklahoma's in competition for some really good players. And it would be huge having both. For me, with the way that Bowe plays down there in Texas, what would even be a big benefit of adding him? Also, similar benefit you have with Jaden O'Neal. Jaden O'Neal's recruiting kids in California as well as now Oklahoma because he's here in Oklahoma. So he's still got the California connection. He's got the Oklahoma connection. Bowe's heavy in the Texas area, and a lot of those kids like him. Like a lot of those kids in the 26 class really like him. And so landing him will add an additional pipeline to additional players there in Texas, honestly, because you've noticed a lot of these kids, they communicate with each other and they talk about who they want to throw them the ball, who they want to protect, who they want to play ball with. So one of the big things that Oklahoma is going to need to do is really, push, try to get both of these quarterbacks. You got to keep both of them in your class. You keep both, good chance you can load up on 26 and you can really decide from there.
Well, I think what's great about it is that Oklahoma is still at the forefront of these big recruiting battles, even coming out of a 6-7 season, right? The respect is still there for Brent Venables and for Oklahoma, despite what happened in 2024. I think everybody in their minds is writing that off. Like, that's not Oklahoma. And as much as people want to get Brent Venables out of here, put him on the hot seat, 2025 is going to remind everybody, okay, this is a pretty good coach, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and he's a great recruiter. Just got to get the offense figured out and get it good, and you're going to have a chance to compete at the highest level in the SEC and in college football. So exciting. We'll monitor Bowe Bentley's recruitment and Jaden O'Neal's, as well as what Oklahoma decides to do on the defensive side of the ball, because they don't have a commitment yet on the defensive side of the ball in their 2026 recruiting class, but that's going to come. We talked about it last week. Oklahoma's recruiting is going to pick up as we approach the summer months, and we're going to start seeing a flurry of commitments for the 2026 cycle. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay on social media at Unfair Sports. You can go check out his channel at Unfair Sports on YouTube as well. You can follow me at John9Williams and go read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. Boomer
Sooner. Happy Monday.
2QBU, maybe?
2QBU, maybe? I don't know.